You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. So, firstly, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to be talking all about wines and spirits, especially on the lead up to Christmas, what might be good ones to try. I was hoping you could introduce yourself and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself to start us off.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Daniel. Yeah, my name is Mike, and I work for the Wine and Spirit Education Trust. So we're a charity which runs education and courses and qualifications in wine and spirits. So anything from a one-day wine course up to a 2-year diploma. So that's what we do.
I was hoping we could start off by you telling us what wines you might recommend as a Christmas gift.
Absolutely. So wine is an absolutely amazing gift and something that's going to please most people, I think. So I think when you're looking at gifts, you're looking at brands. And so if you're thinking about brands, you also want to think about what are popular styles of wine. So clearly Prosecco is really popular. If you like the person very much, you might want to buy them a bottle of champagne and splash out. And then the other sort of wines that are really popular at the moment will be things like New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, really, really nice, refreshing style of wine. And then with the reds, I like to think about wines that are sort of quite powerful, and wines that when you taste, you think, oh wow, that's really good. So these kind of wines would be things like Argentinian Malbec, maybe Australian Shiraz, Chateauneuf de Pape from the Southern Rhone in France, wines like that.
Now, British wine seems to having a rise in popularity. Do you think this is going to continue and even increase?
Absolutely, because what's happening now in England and Wales, we've got some amazing vineyards that have been planted, and they're really sort of coming of age now. People are understanding the technology and understanding the styles that they're producing. They're winning international competitions, so you can have total confidence when you buy a bottle of English sparkling wine that this is international standard wine. We aren't buying it just because it's patriotism or novelty. It's actually really, really great quality, and that's just going to continue basically. So if you haven't tried English sparkling wine, there's all the supermarkets are carrying a couple of English sparkling wines. Some of them are really specialising in them as well, and in the south of England. A lot of the supermarkets, will have even local wines in there as well. So go and see them, go and see your local wine shop, or even go to the vineyard, and why not go have a tour?
Which is something you probably don't think of. You could go out and get a local one, that's near to you.
Absolutely, yeah. Buying local is all the rage, for all the right reasons, food miles, things like this. And you want to go and buy the food from the local farm shop. Why not go and buy wine from down the road as well?
So what about those thinking of branching away from traditional champagnes this Christmas?
Mm-hmm. So away from champagne, obviously you can look at English sparkling wine, what we talked about. Maybe you look at some of the sparkling wines from outside of Europe. So there's some really great sparkling wine made in places like South Africa, where they call it Method Cap Classique. In New Zealand as well, in Marlborough, which is more famous for Sauvignon Blanc. They also make some really top quality traditional method sparkling wine. So that's the sort of the highest quality level really is the traditional method stuff. And they're really great. So there's a lot of competition out there. So if a wine's managed to make it onto the shelves of the supermarket or your local wine shop, then it's probably worth giving it a go.
So what about with a traditional Christmas lunch? What would you recommend there?
So I think, Christmas is the time for traditions, isn't it? So if you're going to go traditional with the wine choices, I'd be looking at some real classic wines. So Chablis, perfect accompaniment to smoked salmon. Chablis is very high in acidity, so that means it's really refreshing, and it cuts through the fat and the oiliness of things like smoked salmon. So having that as a starter, absolutely perfect. If you were having turkey with the trimmings, then a nice Cru Beaujolais. So if you're looking for a wine like a Fleury or a Morgon, that's what you'd be looking for. Works really, really well. It's refreshing enough. It's got this incredible sort of nice red fruit character, or a Pinot Noir. You could look for one of those as well. If you're having beef or lamb, then I'd look for red Bordeaux. This is a bit more powerful, a bit more oaky flavors. And then with the pudding, then I think Pedro Jimenez is a perfect accompaniment. It is a really, really, really sweet style of sherry. something that by itself you might think, okay, I'm not really such a big fan of sweet wines, but with the dessert, it actually makes the wine taste less sweet, and they kind of work really well together. So those would be sort of like the traditional matches, I think, and you can't really go wrong if you pick those.
So are there any trends that we might expect to see this Christmas?
I think there's some really interesting things happening in terms of places that wine is coming from. So you're going to see a lot more sort of unusual styles of wine. The supermarkets are definitely trying to differentiate themselves versus their competitors. So you're seeing these sort of unusual wines that you might not have heard of. And bear in mind, there's lots of competition out there between producers. They all want to be on those shelves. So if you see a wine that you've not heard of, that's maybe not one of the popular grape varieties or not one of the classic regions, it's probably there because it's actually a really great tasting wine. So that's really interesting. What you're seeing as well for some of the in some of the smaller wine shops and some of the more independent wine bars is the rise of what we call natural and biodynamic wines. This is about the production process. So you're seeing some really more unusual styles of wine made in a sort of different philosophy. So really sort of branching out and changing the way that wine's made.
Was there anything else you'd like to cover or get over to our listeners, or where they can find out more info?
Yeah, so if they want to find out more information about how to learn about wine, then check out our website, wsetglobal.com, and you can just find out there on our Where to Study page what's the closest place to you where you can find out about a course. There's lots of information as well, so our 3-minute wine school on YouTube's got all kinds of tips and things like that. And my advice would be to just enjoy it, really, because at the end of the day, wine is a drink. It's meant to be there for having fun times, but if you want to enjoy it more, then if you learn about it, then that's going to give you a better experience, really. So great talking to you.
Well, yeah, I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time out to talk to our listeners here at BRFM Bridge Radio on the Daniel Monday Night Community Show.
Thanks, Daniel. All the best.